right. Excuse me. Well, we should be live now. Nothing like having a few different glitches to make things entertaining here. But we are back. My name is Mike Hess. I am the chair of the American Association for Respiratory Care, Ambulatory and Post-Acute Care section, and this is our APAC office hours. Our time to reach out to the membership and potential membership of respiratory therapists and other people who are interested in the ambulatory and post-acute care community, and give you a chance to weigh in on what's going on. Also try to provide some fun news updates here and there. There's a lot going on in the world of healthcare right now, and just trying to keep abreast of it. It's a little bit tricky right now. Last week, I had the pleasure of attending the MedTrade Medical Equipment Conference down in Dallas, Texas. I will say largely a pleasure. I was really looking forward to some warmer temperatures, being from Michigan, but it was actually colder in Dallas than it was here at home during my time down there. So that was a little bit of a bummer, but the conference itself was fantastic. Really enjoyed myself all the way through that, and met a lot of good contacts. Met some people for the first time, reconnected with some people. Just had a really good time all around. And then next week I will be out of the office again, which actually also means no office hours next Friday because I'll be traveling. But it is an advocacy event. My employer, the COPD Foundation, is having our, annual Hill Day for lobbying and advocacy efforts, and we're joining several other groups. Coincidentally, we're not actually teaming up with them, so I'll be clear about that. But groups like the American Association of Nurse Practitioners, the American Association of Cardiovascular and Pulmonary Rehab, I believe the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation is going to be down there. There's about a half dozen different groups during the course of next week who will be promoting various initiatives, from virtual pulmonary rehab to one of our key lobbying initiatives, which is, sorry about that, I'm just getting some weird conflicting messages from LinkedIn here, but reforming access to medical oxygen therapy. So we're really excited about that. Hopefully getting the SOAR Act from last year reintroduced, and hopefully also making some progress forward on that this year. I do think this is a great time for oxygen, medical oxygen. Most notably, and I'll pull up a link here real quick, the Lancet Commission, the Lancet Global Health Commission on Medical Oxygen Access, Medical Oxygen Security, just released a about 2.5 years in the making report that I will put a link to in the chat here, that highlights a lot of the issues with access and inequities and everything else that are going on in medical oxygen. Now, a lot of this is focused on the acute care setting, as well it should be. In a lot of low and middle income countries, low resource settings, we call them a lot of different things. A lot of these places are still building out infrastructure for acute care settings. It's been really eye-opening to me throughout this process to learn that there are, I want to say the number is like somewhere around 80% of clinics in low resource environments don't even have access to pulse oximetry, let alone oxygen therapy or anything else. And that's after a few years now of building out efforts and infrastructure after the pandemic started, and really put a big strain on the global oxygen infrastructure. So, and we're still seeing a lot of those access issues. Closer to home, we focus a lot on the chronic care setting, chronic and ambulatory care setting. But those environments are going to be dealing with that as well too. I mean, COPD, pulmonary fibrosis, all these chronic diseases, they don't really recognize national boundaries. It's really more of a political construct. And the burden of these conditions is doing nothing but growing. It's a huge issue and growing around the world. And so as these settings start building out their oxygen access, we're going to have to start looking at how we deliver oxygen in the chronic care setting as well as in the acute care. So that's a really interesting paper. Again, it's a long read, but I certainly encourage everybody who is involved in the space to take a look at it and see how you can contribute. There's some commentaries coming out here. We've got one that is actually focused on long-term oxygen. It doesn't look like that one has been published yet, but that one will be coming very soon with a lot of other associated commentaries with it. Definitely encourage people to check that out when you get a moment. Some other oxygen-related things coming out later, all through this spring, actually. The World Health Organization has a series of events all related to medical oxygen access. Hopefully everything's still working here. I'm still not entirely clear. But, building out the different aspects of it from stakeholders and building interprofessional teams and everything else. So that is there. Those webinars are accessible on the WHO website, which I should also be able to drop a link to real quick here. The virtual workshop series for developing national medical oxygen scale-up plans. Now, again, a lot of these things are for a lot of these other countries, not necessarily the U.S., Canada, Mexico, Western Europe, etc. But I do think that there are a lot of lessons that we can learn from these groups, whether it's a one-to-one application of how we can do things better, or whether it's simply using these things for disaster response and emergency management, things like that. There are a lot of lessons to be learned. Later on this year, and I don't have a link for this because it hasn't officially been scheduled yet, but in the run-up to this year's United Nations General Assembly, there's also going to be some high-level conversations, a high-level meeting, they call it, regarding non-communicable diseases. So things like asthma and COPD and pulmonary fibrosis, things like that. And looking at how different countries can work together to reduce the burden of those diseases moving forward over the next decade. That, and then also World Oxygen Day, of course, once again coming back on October 2nd, 2002. This is a big year for oxygen, so we very much look forward to working with all of our partners in the oxygen industry, both domestically here in the U.S., our friends in home care, DME suppliers, manufacturers, everybody else, and then also around the world. Really looking forward to shining some more light on access issues related to medical oxygen and how we can all work together to fix them. All right, so again, welcome, and if you feel free to drop any questions in the chat, and we'll get to them as soon as we possibly can, or if you're catching this on the recording, that's totally cool as well. Please feel free to still drop a comment in the chat, or send me an email, mhesrrt@gmail.com, and or reach out to me here on LinkedIn, and we'll get that. I will find you an answer as best as I can. All right, so what else is going on in the world of oxygen? This is a time where we can, let's see, go look at our oxygen updates, Google Alerts. Yeah, let's see what we've got here. We've got extraterrestrial oxygen. Looks like perhaps, as of last day or so, Pope Francis's condition continues to improve as he receives oxygen therapy. So, again, a really nice highlight, or I shouldn't say a nice highlight because I don't really wish that on anyone. But pretty much anybody eventually may benefit from oxygen therapy. I've seen a lot of websites with or webinars and stuff with clinicians and thought leaders and everybody who said, we didn't really think about oxygen shortages, or we don't really think much about oxygen or breathing at all until we have to. And unfortunately, I think that's a very common thread in our society, at least here in the U.S. We don't really put much of a priority on breathing conditions and everything else. So hopefully we can start thinking about that a little bit more. So not a lot going on today, according to the Google alert. Did volcanoes spark the rise of oxygen on Earth? Interesting. So yeah, there's a lot of that. What else do we have in the world of chronic lung disease? While I am looking that up, I also want to highlight there's a lot going on in the AARC world right now. We've a lot of meetings this weekend. I know the program committee is meeting to build out programs for Summer Forum and AARC Congress. So certainly wish all those folks, first of all, safe travels. And secondly, we hope they have a successful meeting. I know that there was, from looking at the submission portals, there was a lot of really good proposals that went into the pipeline this year. It's going to be a lot of tough choices all around. So it should be interesting to see the schedules that come out of that. I believe there's also a board meeting going on right now, and there's some. I believe this is when they're meeting for the latest 5-year plan. So again, a lot of big things going on in the world of AARC. Your membership dollars are actually at work, and we look forward to hearing a lot of the outcomes for all of us going forward. All right. Also Rare Disease Day. So one of the top headlines right here is health organizations collaborate to address idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis on Rare Disease Day 2025. These are including the American College of Chest Physicians, PF Warriors, Rare Disease Diversity Coalition, the Black Women's Health Imperative, the National Association of Community Health Workers, really working to reduce the burden and address a lot of the issues with pulmonary fibrosis, including looking at some social determinants of health, including access to care, all that sort of thing. So again, Rare Disease Day, very important observation every year. Man, not a lot of news going on at all at the moment, I guess. Yeah, so plenty of time for some questions here. If this thing is even working. Again, it's always a little bit hard to tell. All right. Well, I'm trying to do a better job of promoting these. I know I didn't do an awesome job so far this week. Again, just trying to keep caught up on a lot of things. However, I do want to encourage people to check out these sessions almost every Friday, travel permitting, of course. And I'll give a brief recap also of our latest section meeting. But I do encourage everybody to check out AARC Connect, which has a link to our last ambulatory and post-acute care monthly section meeting, which did actually take place last week. Trying some new things there as well. We actually had a guest speaker from the Select Specialty Hospitals long-term acute care chain, and she's one of the vice presidents for respiratory services, and she spoke at length about the critical role of respiratory therapists in that setting, and how, despite at least back when I was in training in my early career and everything, there was what I could see as kind of a stigma or a stereotype of, that's not necessarily a cool place to be or anything like that, but that setting really does give people a lot of room to work at the top of your skill set, the top of your license. Really use a lot of the creativity and problem solving abilities that are part and parcel with being an RT in a very collaborative interprofessional setting. So that was great to hear. Again, we talked a little bit about some upcoming projects. One of the things we're really hoping to do in this section is get a better handle on who belongs to our section so that we can make sure that we're not missing any gaps. One of the things I'm very concerned about is, with the name of our setting being ambulatory and post-acute care, we may be missing groups like those people working in long-term acute care. So we want to make sure that we are marketing ourselves appropriately and making sure everybody has an opportunity to network and really reap the benefits of specialty section membership on our road to 1,000, aiming to double our membership in our section within the next 18 months or so, so that we can join those folks at the AARC board meeting and have a voting seat on the board. Similarly, we are also looking to engage the membership as to what should that be. First of all, do we need a name change? Am I on the right? Am I on the right track? Is it something we don't really need to worry about? After all, this is an opportunity to tell me. So, and then if we do want to rebrand ourselves, what should that be? So look in the coming months for a couple of different surveys coming out, or a couple of different ways to engage and really make your voice heard and allow everybody to have a good say in the decision-making process and figure out what we need to do to really make this the best return on your membership and investment that we can. And I believe that was about it for the section meeting. So really good conversations. There were a lot of questions for our guest speaker, and we will be looking ahead to that as a regular feature for our membership section meetings. If you have other ideas for things you would like to see at section meetings or other ways we can provide value, journal clubs, social gatherings, that sort of thing, again, please let me know, either via email, msrrt@gmail.com, or through any of the various channels at AARC Connect here on LinkedIn. I'm not terribly hard to find. So just drop me a line, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. I've gotten some really good input over the last couple of months from people about how we can do a better job at demonstrating that value, and I really look forward to hearing more. All right, so with that, obviously it's a slow news day and not seeing a lot of activity. A lot of people probably first of all, a lot of people are probably busy with things like the remarkable flu season that's going on right now. But also, as I mentioned, there's a lot of travel going on for a lot of events right now. So I think maybe we'll just go ahead and we'll call it a day. Since we didn't do a lot of outreach before that, that is definitely on me. But we'll be doing a better job of that going forward. Also, please, just remember that these things happen, again, travel permitting, as often as we can. Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and this is a chance for respiratory therapists and anybody else interested in the community to really make your voice heard in ambulatory and post-acute care, how the section runs, what we can offer, and everything else. Really want to hear your voice because ultimately we're here for you. This is your deal. We're here to support you and your professional development and everything else. And we may have thoughts. I may have thoughts on how best to do that, but I'm certainly not the be-all, end-all. And I want to hear from you about how we can do a better job with that. So please let me know. Be in contact with me again over the next week. It might be a little bit delayed as I work on a lot of these other advocacy things, but definitely really interested to hear your thoughts. And hopefully we can move forward together to build up this section and really advocate on behalf of our patients all across the ambulatory and post-acute care community and really build a better future for oxygen therapy and disease management and care navigation and home care and everything else as we do that. So with that, hope everybody has a great weekend. I'm going to sign off a little bit early and get ready for a lot of this advocacy. And we will see you in 2 weeks on Friday. Click on the right spot here. Friday the 14th Pi Day. We'll see if we can get something kind of fun and special together for Pi Day. And see you all then. Till then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and have a great weekend.